So, Build Back Better, it's kind of dead for now. Manchin said no, but their Politico has an article about 14 policies that were in the Build Back Better. They'll probably, knowing the U.S. government, I mean, it's great that this Build Back Better got canned, but, progressives are relentless, and they'll keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and, I mean, I'm sure eventually all these policies will be go ahead and pass later, and will eventually bankrupt America eventually. But here they are. So one is the child tax credit. Now this is really bad because it's straight up. Well, the way they score it as in, oh, we're gonna have just this 1 year credit for the middle class, and that's it. But anything that has to do with the middle class and any kind of entitlement, it will keep getting extended and extended. So basically, this is not a 1.5 trillion. This is not a 5 trillion. I think to properly score it, they would have to really run this thing till the end of time, because you're not doing away with Medicare. You're not doing away with Social Security. So you're not doing away with this child tax credit either. So it should be scored as in $100 trillion program. Run the shit till the end of time. And basically, this is just a backdoor for universal basic income. They will be expanding it to now it's a child tax credit. But then, what about the disabled? What about the elderly? What about people who lost their job? What about people who are depressed? This is just basically European socialism. They're trying to put the camel's nose under the tent, and that's exactly what it is. Awful shit. Universal pre-K here. I'm going to say this is probably a big giveaway to unions. I'm sure it's going to be the government's going to pay for childcare, but it's going to have to be a unionized teacher that pays union dues and has a certain amount of education, which is they're just piling on all these new regulations that make actual universal care pre-K more expensive, just like what they did with colleges. Keep giving away bigger and bigger student loans, and then what do you know, everybody's education kept getting more and more expensive. Clean energy perks, garbage completely. I agree with Elon Musk. Get rid of all energy subsidies. All energy subsidies. Clean energy, I'm for clean energy, but it needs to compete with the fossil energy and nuclear energy. And yeah, it's a marketplace. We don't need any distortions in it. But also take away the coal energy, take away all energy subsidies. In that way, once all energy subsidies are removed, people can see the actual real price of the energy, and therefore a real market can develop. And with a real market, investors can actually invest in the most promising technology and get the most bang for your buck. But it shouldn't be completely distorted with all these subsidies, because with these subsidies, scientists and companies are going to do all sorts of irrational crap. It doesn't really help environment. Oil and gas leasing hikes. I'm going to skip this one because when the government leases land to gas producers, who knows what type of prices they should charge. Methane fee, same. Get rid of axe that. Get rid of that completely. No subsidies for anything. Medicaid expansion. I mean, this is insidious too. Medicare expansion and Medicaid expansion, of course. Now, yeah, this, who could be against this? You're just helping old people, but we already have $100 trillion worth of uncovered liabilities. America is beyond bankrupt. I'm not talking about the 30 trillion that's on the official books that they. Oh no. This is the professor, the liberal professor Kotlikov, he'd added up all the unfunded liabilities that people that are already alive today will be drawing for the next 30 or 40 years. It's over 100 trillion. The U.S. dollar is going to have to be thrown under the bus. I mean, there's no way 100 trillion. That's insane. I mean, if you take all the billionaires combined, that's probably like 4 or 5 trillion in America, which obviously you're not going to be able to confiscate all their wealth. I mean, people are going to start moving out of the country, but we just don't have any money for this. So basically, what are you going to do? You're not going to raise taxes so much to where it's going to completely crush growth. So what are they going to do? They're going to throw the dollar under the bus. I think America will have to default on the dollar and create a new currency. Hopefully be an international cryptocurrency so they don't have, or something backed by gold so they can't, bullshit us anymore. Prescription drug price negotiations. Climate smart agriculture. It's all this garbage. Transportation. What is this? Just over 57 billion for transportation, with the largest price going towards help high-speed rail. These high-speed rails complete boondoggle. It's going to be just subsidies from slow-ass Amtrak that's losing money. Look at the California high-speed rail from LA to San Francisco. They just built like 10 miles worth of strip in the middle of nowhere. This is complete garbage. If you're not, I mean, what they could do is enable actual companies to build from LA to Vegas that actually have, if they're going to, the companies that are actually trying to turn a profit, then if they have to turn a profit, then yes, I mean, they'll build an efficient way. But if you don't have to turn a profit and they're just building these railroads for just kickbacks to your union buddies, this is garbage. Don't need it. Big tech crackdown. As much as I hate Facebook, we don't need the government. This is bullshit completely, because Facebook, if you ever listen to a liberal podcast like Vox, Facebook is always running ads about how they want more regulation, how they want amendments to whatever, that law, and amendments to the hate speech. It's so fucking creepy. Basically, Facebook owns the U.S. government. You're just going to play right into their hands. They're going to, quote-unquote, do a crackdown. But what's really going to happen is the government is going to pass all these laws favoring Facebook, and any young upstart, small little company that's trying to compete with them, well, they're going to hit with fines and lawsuits because somebody's going to, quote-unquote, post hate speech, or that young company doesn't have billions of dollars to hire all these monitors policing everybody's post. So who knows? I mean, obviously you can start a company in a different part of the world, but what is it? Because that company doesn't like TikTok or whatever, or let's say you start a different social media in like India or whatever, in Russia or China. Well, China's probably a bad example, but let's say you're in a like super free like Amsterdam or something, right? And you start a social media company, and Americans can use it. Well, if it's a free speech platform and somebody, quote unquote, have vaccine misinformation or have some kind of hate speech on there, and what is the U.S. going to have? If it violates these guidelines that Facebook wrote, is the U.S. government going to have to be like China, set up a firewall and actually block that social network so Americans can't use it? No, fuck that. I mean, there's no need for big tech crackdown. I mean, even though they are censoring, they have a huge, awful bias. At the end of the day, if they don't charge any money, it should be good. The U.S. government has absolutely no reason to be involved. Paid family and medical leave. This is complete horse trash too. Because so here what's in it. 4 weeks of paid leave for U.S. workers, costing around $200 billion. But this is complete bull. It will cover all workers wishing to take paid leave off for the birth of a newborn, care for a family member, as well as illness or injury, beginning in 2014. Well, they assume, it's going to be $200 billion because they assume only like a small amount of people are going to take this. But no, That's not what's going to happen. If you're going to be everybody is going to run out these sick days. I want to know their math. Like what? Like they assume like, oh, 2 or 3% of the workers that have like a family emergency or give birth in a certain year that they'll take it. No, almost everybody will have a quote unquote sick family member and will be get paid for like 3 or 4 weeks out of the year. I mean, this could be like one of the biggest entitlements ever. They changed it to an care for a newborn or a family member, as well as for illness or injury. I remember a earlier version of this is like care for either a family member or like a friend or something. It's just like, well, fuck, everybody has like a sick friend you can care for by just hanging out and playing video games to lift their spirits. This is just European welfare state. If any of this shit's passed, our economy is going to get more and more burdened by the government and taxes, and we're going to have slower and slower growth. And countries like Singapore or smaller like Eastern European countries that are more free market going to eat our lunch. Rural development, bullshit, exit. Oh, more than 18 billion in funding for rural development, including 1 billion for biofuel infrastructure, another 6 billion aimed the program providing debt relief for farmers of color. So it has some racist ass provisions too about people on skin giving money to people's skin color. Just horrible bullshit. All of this should be axed.